Okay. Well, Barbara, thank you for attending. Those of you in person, thank you. This workshop is This is My House, Developing a Community Profile to Better Understand a Location Workshop. Uh, I will be presenting. I'm Tom Rohrig, Associate Librarian, Jake Syma, another Associate Librarian, and our Business Librarian, and then Freedonia Paschall, Archivist at the Southwest Collection, will be presenting. So anytime you have a question, Barbara, you can either text or just ask your question.
Thanks.
So this is our workshop outline, and we wanted to, basically our idea was to uh, give some of the basic resources that we have found, and I also hope that we'll be able to get feedback for additional, because when we're looking at what is out there, there is so much. So the learning outcomes we have are uh, understanding the value of doing a community profile, understanding the availability of the resources from government and private publishers, understanding the role of library staff to provide further assistance, and then getting feedback uh, for future workshops. One of the things that we have decided to do is to concentrate more on the demographic and health related, but for sometimes when someone is doing a community profile and maybe for a business class, and they may be looking more at business information. So we found the value providing statistical basis. You can study a topic over time. Sometimes you'll run across that there just is some information that isn't collected. Uh, so you'll be able to use both the government and private resources. And then as the technology increases, you oftentimes will be able to use GIS and other tools to gather and display information. So the the general library resources, I wanted to mention the LibGuides community site. Barbara, do you all use LibGuides at Health Sciences Center?
Yes, we have LibGuides.
Okay. I have found when I was preparing, I used the LibGuides community site a lot in seeing what other libraries did and being able to identify additional resources. So that is a really nice resource. Like when I put in community profile, I found a lot of good resources that I was able to include here. So this basically covers the LibGuide. Since you're aware of that, I won't go into detail, but just to say it really is nice, a good resource rather than just Googling. So Jake is going to talk a little bit about personal librarians.
Thank you, Tom. My name is Jake Syma. I'm the Business and Economics Librarian here at Texas Tech, and I don't normally sound like this, but I've been sick since Friday, so I'm going to try to limit my touching things, I guess. Anyway, the Personal Librarians page at Texas Tech is Texas Tech University Libraries is available from the left-hand sidebar. Should I switch over? Over to show that?
Can't really. Yeah, okay. We just have the PowerPoint.
Okay. And so you'll see by default it goes to the personal librarians or subject guides. Those are kind of simultaneous for this page. It's arranged to guides by subject because that is where most of students and other people are coming to this page from. They want to know, here, where's the accounting subject guide or research guide or accounting personal librarian. You can see they're not currently highlighted because they're not active, but you can click this on the library webpage to get all guides. or to arrange them by group, where you can, for example, it groups them by subject pages, course-specific pages, and then at the bottom, if you do click to sort them by group, there's workshops at the bottom to quickly and easily get back to the subject guide for this workshop. But the default and by far the most useful is by subject. Let's see. And regardless of which, I guess, index you're looking at or grouping you're looking at it by, you can always search. So, for example, for this one, it can have any of the four highlighted up here, but if you search for community profile, ours will be the first or second result you get, and then you can just click on that.
Or this is my town.
Yes, this is my town is another way to search for that. Let's see. Okay, and so libraries have been moving for years away from library catalogs, which are historically just the things that libraries own. Kind of if we quit paying our bills tomorrow, we would still have them, 6 months, a year from now. And then as we subscribed to databases and other electronic resources that exist more or less in silos, there's been a push to, if not break down the walls between those different silos, then at least punch holes through them. And the way we do that to be able to move from one system to another is via discovery systems or discovery services that allow you to search across not only the information that we own, but also information that we rent or lease access to. Mainly our electronic databases, but include some other things as well. And by default, our discovery service is what you're searching when you search in this gray box, Start Here, One Search. It's usually easiest to start out in the basic search and search something like Lubbock or community profile, or if you're looking for something in particular, Lubbock demographic information. I would probably just start with Lubbock, and then once you get your, I think, 1.2 million results or something like that, then you can push it over to the advanced search and get a little more specific. But the left-hand sidebar will give you a lot of different options to sort by relevance or date, different resource types, magazines, newspaper articles, books, which library they're located in, if they're by a certain collection or subject type. Lots of different options on the left-hand sidebar. Excuse me. Okay. So one of the easiest ways to search for example, Lubbock population will get you both Lubbock City and Lubbock County. It may be a little bit overly broad of a search, or it may seem like that, but also in Lubbock we do things that way sometimes, like the Lubbock City County Library, the Lubbock City County Law Library. Some reports that we found while doing background for this were both Lubbock City and Lubbock County. So it's sometimes maybe hard to disentangle one from the other. But if you search Lubbock City, that will generally winnow out Lubbock County, and vice versa. Lubbock County should help you get away to some degree from Lubbock City. Sorry. Okay. So yes, we have the search in here for Lubbock County, and then this is actually the advanced search interface. It says simple up here, but this is advanced where you can do multiple search lines. Lubbock County, and then you can add something else. You'll see by default it's searching everything. This is our discovery service. If you just wanted to limit to the things in the traditional library catalog, You could do that here or things in the law library. And I don't know how well you can see this, but the Lubbock City County Welfare Department, a case study. I brought a copy of that for anyone who may want to look at it. And then, yeah, here's the print version of that. But these are basically the same work. This one's just located next door in the Southwest Collection Special Collections Library. And, excuse me, this is an article from, I think it's 2002, about a Texas Tech law student who was somewhat infamously running for the city council. Excuse me. And document delivery / interlibrary loan. We sort of tend to use those terms interchangeably now, but basically document delivery will deliver electronic items. They may be either born digital or they were physical items that were scanned at the destination here at the TTU libraries and sent to you to your desktop, as it were, or to your inbox, if you prefer to think about it that way. Whereas interlibrary loan is really more the realm of physical objects. If there's a whole book, that you want or need, and it can't be digitized because of copyright reasons, then we will put it in the mail for you. But the interface is the same. Again, on the library's left-hand sidebar, very close to where you clicked on the personal librarians link earlier. You can also choose the link for document delivery. It will take you to this page. You click here to sign in. You log in using your E-Rater credentials. If you have already logged in to access one of the databases, you probably will not have to re-log in. And Tom now will come and talk to you about some of the Texas-based reference sources.
Thank you, Jake. One of the resources that I've found very useful is this is a project of, it used to be the Reference Roundtable at TLA, and it's now something slightly different. But what they have done is they used to publish this in print form for a number of years, and then probably about 10, 15 years ago, they moved it to the web. So this is a really good resource for all sorts of material. And one of the things that I've noticed is that you may not, is that a little bit better of seeing, Barbara?
I can see it, but it's small.
It is small. Okay. I think that that is one of the things that we definitely need to change. I think we can redo this, and I'll let everyone know. But they cover it with basic subject areas: humanities, social and behavioral science, and then the sciences. So you can click on this for the different sources, and they will oftentimes include links, because they still have a lot of print titles as well as online resources. So this is supposed to supplement the American Library Association's Guide to Reference, and these areas, education, statistics and demography, economics and business, medical and health sciences, I found the most useful for this topic. So we will go back, and Jake will talk a little bit more about our databases. And we've tried, we understand that some of this material may not be available directly for you all in the Health Sciences Center, but some of these databases, I think, are also included in your listing.
Thank you, Tom. So when you click on the left-hand sidebar, databases A to Z. It'll take you to this page. When you access it this way, the default tab will be open to title. So if you have a known item search, basically a known database search in this case, like if you were going to academic search complete or something like that, you could just type its name in here. Another very helpful tab over here is one that I use with my business and economics students a lot, this databases by category tab. And if you click on that, if you were to click on that, you could say, for example, I want to look at all the databases by subject equals business and economics. And of the 300 some odd databases that the TTU libraries subscribes to, it would then limit to the approximately 48 or so business and or economics related databases. If your portion of the community profile research was more legal or legislative, you could do databases by that category, or health sciences, what have you, other categories there. Excuse me. Let's see. For most database categories, there is a distinct and separate category and subcategory. But in some of them, it's difficult to delineate. So for business and economics, that's both a category and the single or sole subcategory. There's also one for newspapers / current events, I believe it's called, off the top of my head without trying to swap back over. And then Statista, oh sorry, that's ProQuest Statistical Insight already. Tom?
If you want to talk about, or do you want me to talk about
I'm
this?
sorry, do you mind?
No, not at all. Well, we have two basic databases that have the statistical material, and the ProQuest Statistical Insight and Statista, which Jake will talk about. I like this resource because I've worked with it for many years. It started many years ago as CIS Index, as an index to index congressional publications, and it sort of grew out, the statistical aspect grew out of it. So it covers international, federal, state, and private resources. So I like that you basically will put in your basic search, and it may be like Lubbock or population, and then on the left-hand side, you will see ways of limiting it. So, for instance, this is what I did with Lubbock, and I found a number of publications, Lubbock Area Economic Summary out of, let's see, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and then over here, and I know it's not easy to see, there's ways of limiting it. They'll have dates covered and dates published. The dates covered can be useful if you're looking for projections, which there are projections out there, although it doesn't seem like it's showing up for Lubbock, because if the date covered is like it says 1950 to 2040, you'll know that there are some projections out there. So you can limit your searching to maybe 2016 to 2050 to get those projections. Then you can limit by source, and you can see that there's information maybe from federal agencies, associations, etc. So I find it very useful, and you can also limit your results to PDF or tables. There's also, I think, spreadsheets that will show up. So this is a really nice resource, and I like it particularly because when you search it, most of the material is full text in some way, and you can download it, forward it other people that may be working with you. So now Jake is going to talk about Statista, which he really likes.
I do really like Statista. Let's see. Excuse me. There's a search here up at the top and a search down there. They look different, but I have not been able to find any differences between them. As best I can tell in the more than a year that I've been using it, they are identical. For a community profile, it presents a little bit of a challenge for Statista, whereas for a city the size of Lubbock, we get 10 results, I believe. Clicked on that. Why it's not going to the next slide? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so, and the 10 of those, all 10 of those search results were in the form of statistics about Lubbock or the MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area. No forecasts, no market analytics, no studies, or any of the other types of search results that we're used to seeing, but still 10 results for a city the size of Lubbock is actually pretty good. If you were doing a community profile for Detroit or something like that, you would get more. But generally, a lot of these come through at the state level. So, for example, if you were going to do Texas, you would get more than 1,000 statistical results. I think 5 or 10 forecasts, either 2 market analytics or 2 dossiers and industry reports. And then once you find those at the state level, you can then track down the sources that they came out of and, follow links to the original documents and see if you can tease out any state or county level data from those larger state reports. We'll just gloss right over that highest violent crime rate and go to optimism with regards to improvement of areas, things like that. But Lubbock has been in the news for some of these things, and they do show up. There is a locality note that's basically telling you that based on your, I believe, IP range or IP address, that it's prioritizing your location to, in this case, United States. If you were sitting at behind a desk, in somewhere in the United States, but you were trying to do a community profile on, Paris or something like that across the globe, you would of course want to uncheck that. And sorry, it's being a little slow. On the next slide, once that comes up, we do have some information about Statista. There we go. Excuse me. Market data, consumer data, revenue figures, trends. These are all the different material types we talked about. Unfortunately, we didn't have results on all of those or hits on all of those for Lubbock. And Tom will be up next to talk about the Texas, Reference Center.
Thank you, Jake. One of the things that it occurred to me as we were talking about the ProQuest statistical and the Statista is that there's probably more information included on Lubbock, but because of the indexing for some of these resources where they will break resource down to a city or county level, that you could probably, they will include Lubbock in there, but it wouldn't always show up when you just put in Lubbock. So that would be another approach, would be to do a subject search like I had. Let me go back to ProQuest on this screen. instead of searching for Lubbock, I might have searched for population or demographics, and then down here at the bottom, it'll indicate how you want it broken down, local by city, county, so you could click there and then review the material. So I think that's going to get additional resources. The Texas Reference Center, I wanted to mention, I haven't found it necessarily as useful for a community profile, but it is something that I think people should be aware of because they have gathered all sorts of references to Texas related material and put it in this database. So I have been surprised at things that I've found. They index not only newspaper articles, but they will include some reports, books, etc. And so when I had searched for Lubbock, I found things like editorial on water use, information on Jody Arrington when he was running for Congress. So this can be useful. You can also search by images, and you're able to search by geographic terms. So I would search first for like Lubbock and then maybe search West Texas to get additional material. As far as talking about government information now, so with these other databases, they have included a lot of government resources and also some private. Basically, as a depository, TEC has been a federal depository since 1935. It became a regional during the 60s, which basically means that we have been required to retain most everything that is sent to us, whereas selective depositories like the law library can retain material just for 5 years and then decide if they want to retain it. If they don't, they will send a disposal list to us to review. So this is we're part of a nationwide system of depository libraries. So if there's something that we don't have, we can find it from others. Over the years, I have found that there is a lot of information that could be useful for community profiles from almost every agency in the federal government, and we're going to talk about some of the major ones. But some of the ones that we're not going to mention today, but can be useful depending on the information people need, are from the Census of Business, from the Department of the Interior, if you're looking for oil and gas resources, that sort of thing. Energy Department probably has some material. When you're searching Google, you can limit by domain. So I found the most useful are limiting by military, education, organization, and government. And these can be useful for finding new resources that are out there, and oftentimes the one-time surveys. For instance, Lubbock, I think, we're referred to as the friendliest town in the nation, which is probably from some magazine's survey. So that can be of use. The USA.gov is the official portal to online government information, not only federal but state, but it allows you, it'll find a lot of the basic information in Google, but it won't include mainly a lot of international resources. The FDLP Academy, I wanted to point that out. It has a number of webinars that talk about resources that can be of interest to community profile. For instance, I'm going to talk briefly about On the Map, which I was not familiar with. This is information that will show you how to view visually people, where they work, and if they're coming in and out, and they are doing an updated seminar, I think in March. They've done the first one. They also talk about mapping census data, using the Bureau of Economic Analysis interactive data to get local data, etc. So this can be really useful, and this information is available to anyone. Now, this is something that I hadn't used before. This is Data USA. This provides visualization of public data, and so this is the information I got when I searched for Lubbock. So it brings out population, median household income, median age. So evidently we are a fairly young town. And then down below you can see there are links if you want to find more about demographics, education. So this is a good example of the type of resources that are becoming available to visually display community profile information. So some of the, you can also search this resource by industry, occupations, education, and I've indicated that the results for, like with Lubbock, education, housing, etc. So really useful. As far as the Census Bureau, there's a couple of resources out there, and I've found I traditionally have used the American Fact Finder because there's a nice link to community facts where you can easily limit by city or county and get a really nice overview. I remember a number of years ago I had someone from a local Girl Scout troop who they were having to do community analysis for different places, and I was able to show them this, and they were able to get really nice population, ethnic breakdown, age breakdown, etc. The Census Explorer is I think a newer resource. It allows you to use map information to explore your neighborhood. So this is similar to the data visualization tool. And then the link to my congressional district gathers this information by the individual congressional districts. I had talked about the On the Map program, talking about where workers are employed and where they live, and they provide this additional information on age, earnings, distribution. This Quick Facts is a really nice link. It's similar to the American Fact Finder. It probably is part of it, but it gives a basic comprehensive profile for every state, counties, and cities and towns with a population of 5,000 or more. So you would go to the American Fact Finder if you were looking for smaller towns. Say, I think Slayton probably falls under that, and some of the other towns nearby. There is a nice quick links for Texas, which gives links to census material, population estimates, etc. If you were wanting to look, maybe do comparisons on a state wide basis to maybe your community profile if you're researching Texas. As far as health-related material, the National Center for Health Statistics, FastStats, provides some really good information. It will provide national statistics and then link to more specific geographic areas, and I should have said if available, not necessary, in other statistics sources. There's also a fair amount of health-related information available from census, so there is a lot of overlap when you're looking for health-related information. There's also, now going into Texas, I found a couple of the really good resources are the Texas Health and Human Services has a portal for comprehensive health data in Texas. So it's a very nice interactive resource. And then there is also Texas Health Fact Statistics, which you can break down by county, MSA, and border designation, public health, health service region, and metropolitan status. One of the other resources that I found is useful for not only statistics of interest for doing a community profile, but for other statistics, is this page from UT libraries on statistics. And so this page covers statistics and demographics. So they cover the Texas statistics of all sorts. This Texas State Data Center can be a really good resource, not only for the data they have, but if you have questions, because the State Data Center does workshops around the state. I know I've attended at least one, and I think the state demographer had come to talk here at Tech, and they have some really good resources, and they really are one of the experts on the data center, particularly demographics related. So these are some of the sections they have: population estimates, projections, which can be very interesting, tables by subject, and they also will provide technical assistance. So then as we go down, and this is true for probably every city and county, they will have in their city government and county government, as it is, information on resources. One of the things I wanted to point out, the Lubbock Economic Development Alliance collects a lot of data. They work with the Chamber of Commerce. Also, Texas Tech and other libraries across the nation do the same for their areas, but we had digitized some census information. This information actually was from material that the city demographer, Dave Buckberry, former, had provided libraries over the years. And I think there's probably copies of these print items in the Health Sciences Library also, if I remember correctly, because Dave had said one of the reasons they distributed this material was to cut down on the questions that would come in to him. He hoped that he would get just the more in-depth or harder to answer questions. So we don't have a lot of information on private resources, but I know Jake has some thoughts on that.
Just come up and mention that really quickly. Excuse me. Yes, so sometimes most of what we talk about is publicly available, publicly provisioned, if you will, data, but it can also come from private sources, including but not limited to professional or trade organizations, AICPA. Actually, I guess last year, it feels like longer ago, in my capacity as the business and economics librarian, I was working with a PhD candidate in health economics, and he was looking for a particular data set to try to find basically what types of doctors in the area prescribe certain drugs. And I leaned on some of my resources over at the Health Sciences Center Library and was directed toward the AMA. And the AMA, the American Medical Association, actually provides some data services. They're a little more boutique. It's not like you can subscribe to the database. I can't remember the name of the database off the top of my head. But basically, if you approach them with your problem, or information need, to put it bluntly, they can hook you up for the right price. This link down here, the CPA, the Community Profile Analysis, Consumer and Business Demographic Reports. You can't see me with them right now, but I have a handful of them that I pulled from the library stacks. And if you're at home or at your office following along, If you click on this link right here, it will open up the link in the University Library's Discovery service with a link to the electronic record for this print physical item. And again, I have a bunch of them here. And going as far back as I think 1992 or something like that. And I have more recent ones for Lubbock County, 2016/2017, and they're prepared, I guess, as a joint venture between Nielsen, like Nielsen ratings, and Mergent, basically a business intelligence company that we in the business, more so business than economics area, are quite familiar with. It's very good. Some of them are thicker than others, but they examine things like population factors, household factors, education and labor force factors, industry and occupation factors, business market factors, census tract maps, and all sorts of other stuff. Anyway, for the right price, a lot of these can be had. Okay, and now Freedonia Paschall will be talking to us about resources available next door in the Southwest Collection Special Collections Library.
There it goes. We're located just north of the main library. We're the Southwest Collection Special Collections Library. The Southwest Collection, though, is a separate part, and we're an archive. And as you can read here, we collect items of significance, and our printed material are used to support our manuscript material, and we have a very fine manuscript collection that is known across the country. And so our books include all kinds of things that might be helpful to you. And this would be like city and county histories, cookbooks. Now that sounds a little weird, cookbooks, but cookbooks are frequently done by either organizations or they're done by a church. And so inside those, there will always be a little bit of the history of the organization or the church. And we also have city directories and telephone directories. And this is one of our items that we have digitized on our website. And I'll give you our website address later on, but you can always get to it from the library's homepage. And so the things that we have are historical in nature, and so we don't usually have things that are brand new, but we have things that should be helpful if you're looking at the history of an area. And one of the things that we've been working on a lot are newspapers. And so we've always collected newspapers, and starting back in the 1950s, we started doing microfilm. And so we have, at the present, we have a project where we're digitizing those newspapers, and we have, at the present time, about 150,000 issues that have been completed and are available for people to look at. But we also have some hard copies. We still have microfilm that, of course, you have to come in to look at. And this is one of our local newspapers. This is the West Texas Times, and it started out as the Manhattan Heights, and then it was West Texas Times, and then it's the Southwest Digest. And this is one of our earliest newspapers, and this is the Lubbock Enterprise. And one of the things that we have that you can find in our reference room are what we call reference files, and many other libraries might call them flat files, vertical files, just different kinds of names. But what they are clippings. And so we make clippings over the years that out of newspapers, out of magazines, we get things like students will give us their class papers, and so we file all of those, and so you might be surprised at the kind of things that you'll find in a reference file. Some things that you're not going to find anywhere else. And so we always start our patrons when they come in, when they've got a topic, we always start them out with reference files to sort of give them a place to start at. And we also have photographs and we have oral histories. And those things we're a little bit more picky with because we don't always have copyright for those. And so you can always use them. You may have to come in to use them, but they're always available and for all of our patrons. And we're always willing to help people, and we welcome our patrons to come in and do research. And most of our books and many of our manuscripts are available in the online catalog, so there's easy access to all of our materials. And those are our hours.
Great. Thank you very much, Freedonia. I think this information from Southwest Collection may provide additional resources for people when they are wanting to add to what may be the usual community profile. Now, are there any questions? Barbara, do you have any questions right now?
Well, I was interested, does the Southwest Collection only include materials from Texas, or would it also include things from New Mexico?
We do have things from New Mexico and the southwestern
ones. She does, Freedonia said that they do include New Mexico. What other areas, are there other areas?
Southwestern United States.
So that would be Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado,
New Mexico, Arizona.
Okay, Arizona, Utah.
Lower California, Wyoming,
and Lower California, and northern Mexico. Well, that covers a lot larger than I had thought. Thanks, Freedonia.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. The only other thing we have to do on the library, on the PowerPoint, there is a link for online evaluation. So if you can click on that and just fill in, this is my town, and then just click on the names for myself, Tom, and Jake. For Freedonia, since she hasn't been added to the default list, just type her name in the other box, and then just provide your comments. This is all anonymous, and this will really help us as we update this workshop. And then this last page is a bibliography of some of the resources I was using, we were using when preparing. Barbara, since you are the health sciences person, if you maybe could email me separately if there are areas that would be of particular interest that we may not have covered as well for people, like particularly the nursing students, when they do a community profile.
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Okay. Well, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate you attending virtually, and this really helps us, and I'm hoping we'll be able to do this again. So have a good day and a good week.
Thank you.
Thanks.